Okay, so today we have Mary Faktor with us, and she is an author, life coach, and acclaimed actress. She's been in films like The American Splendor, and now she has her one-woman comedy show, The 6 Ages of Woman. Can you tell us about that for people who don't know?
Well, I wrote the show over 30 years ago,
Okay.
and I decided I wanted to do my own show and book it whenever I could, and it just has grown over the 30 years. I perform for women's clubs and social groups, churches, a lot of fundraisers lately. Everyone's funds are being cut, and donations are down at churches, and charities are getting less donations. So I'm being used a lot now as a fundraiser, where instead of the typical bake sale or rummage sale or silent auction, they're having my comedy show. And all they have to do is what I call put the butts in the seats. And then I provide the show, and everyone has a really fun evening.
Yeah, the show is really funny, and a lot of people say that it's a great girls' night out. So what do women take away from the show? What do you want women to take away from the show?
Well, it's a great girls' night out, but also couples love the show. Men like the show too.
Really?
And yes, don't let the title fool you. The men like the show too. But what do people take away from it? It's universal humor. It doesn't matter if my audience is doctors and their wives at the Ritz-Carlton or bass fishermen and their wives at the Moose Hall. It's universal humor. Anyone who's ever been married and had children loves the show. And even if you haven't been married or had kids, if you can see your mother in the show. So what's really cool is a lot of times I'll see generations at tables where there'll be the young lady who's maybe just gotten married or having her first baby, her mother who's ready to be a grandmother, her mother who's going to be a great-grandmother.
So everyone can touch. Yes. I know watching the show, I was laughing and like, that's my mom, and I can see her doing that. So
exactly.
It was like everybody can identify with it.
Exactly. On some level in one of the scenes. Because in the first one, it's 6 phone calls. The audience is eavesdropping on 6 phone calls between me, my character Vicky, and her best friend. And in the first phone call, I'm a teenager, and I'm all excited about this guy that's asked me out, and there's never a year given, but you can tell it's kind of early 60s, late 50s.
Okay.
And then in the next phone call, she's a newlywed. And everything's always going to be so romantic, and they're never going to fight, and everything's always going to be so wonderful. In the next one, she's pregnant with her first baby, and she's going to be the perfect mother. She's never going to yell at her children. She's never going to feed her children sugar. They're never going to eat sugar.
Yeah.
In the next, she's pregnant with the 4th child. She's only planned on having 2, but she used the rhythm method.
Yeah.
And so she's feeding the kids, bribing them with ho-hos and Twinkies while she's on the phone. And then she's middle-aged, and the kids are teenagers, and she's gone back to work and become a successful career woman. And at the end, she's a healthy, active, vital senior citizen, ready to be a grandmother for the first time, and trying to recapture the romance with her husband.
So do you draw these phone conversations from your experience, personal experience?
Some of it, yes. I had a master plan when I was young, and it didn't quite work out the way I thought. And from different women that I've talked to, that this one thought that she'd never want to not work. She never wanted to stay home with her kids, but once she had a child, she wanted to stay home. Or this one that thought she'd be the perfect mother found herself yelling at the kids every 2 minutes. So it is very relatable for all the different stages from different women.
I know that you are a life coach and an author. How does that weave into your life with acting? How does that weave in?
Well, I had so many women in my audiences ask me about how I ended up doing what I do that I put that into the introduction. And so in the introduction, for the first 10 minutes or so, I share myself with my audience. And I tell them about the depression. I tell them about the hard decisions. And then I tell them how I got started doing what I do. And then I encourage them, what is it that you are really good at doing? What do you love? What's that business you've always wanted to start, or that talent you've wanted to pursue, that place you've wanted to visit? And not to let your age stop you, or your gender, or your disability, and to go for your dreams. I close with one of the poems from my book, And it's about living your dreams and about listening to that inner voice.
Lastly, what would you say is your philosophy for life?
To not give up, just keep on trying and be tenacious about what you really want. And know, there's the old story about the professor with the jar with the stones and the rocks. What are the big rocks? Your family, God, your family, your friends, your relationships,
Right.
your health. These are the big rocks. When those are taken care of, the rest falls into place.
Okay.
But if you fill the jar with gravel and sand and pebbles,
Things that
there's
don't.
no room for the big rocks.
Okay.
And that's one of the most important lessons. Nobody ever was on their deathbed wishing they spent more time at work or
yeah.
you know, that they had a better car. You know, they wish.
Materialistic things.
Exactly. It's about the family and the love that you have in your life.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. Don't forget to check out the 6 Ages of a Woman. When can we check it out?
Well, my next performance that's open to the public is on May 6th at the Country Lakes Party Center in Broadview Heights. And that is a full dinner show.
Okay.
And it's sponsored by MimiDeals.com. And they have also a cash bar with $5 martinis.
Don't forget to check her out on Facebook.
My Facebook page is the 6 Ages of Woman Comedy Show.
Okay.
If you like that page, then you'll constantly get updates of where I'm going to be next. And I'm always updating that and posting photos and things. And or my other website is maryfaktor.com. That's my website. And feel free to contact me anytime at Faktor the Actor, Faktor, the actor, at AOL.com. And I will be more than glad to answer your questions if you're interested in having the show for your organization.
Thank you so much for talking with us. Okay, and you can check out this full interview on the LCA YouTube page. I'm Jade Marshall, and that's LCA.